So welcome to the March 30th, Thursday chat. Before we move on to some announcements and then Matt, we've done about 170 Thursdays and only did not schedule a Thursday on Yom Kippur and on Christmas 2 times. Next week will be the second day of Pesach, and I asked our wise Rabbi Judy whether we should schedule a Zoom next week, and her answer was, I think it would be best not to schedule a community chat on April 6th out of respect for Passover and the second Seder coming up that night. So there will be no Zoom next week. We will, however, have Zoom on what is the 8th day of Passover the following week. Faye and I will be on next week just to make sure that we that anybody who didn't hear that there was no Zoom would not think we were out of business, because that's the reason that we run, regularly and under all circumstances, don't miss a week. So with that, if I remember, I'll make the same announcement at the end, and for those who have not yet come in. So with that, we have a few announcements. Peter Halfon, you're first. Peter?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Yesterday, the food committee met a week earlier. It was our April meeting, actually, a week earlier because of Passover next week. And I wanted to share with you a couple of things that did come up. It was a very productive meeting. I can tell you that joining the members of the food committee were Josh, Joel, Chef Eileen, Patrick, Tom, Adriana, June, and Chelsea, and even Lynette, who takes those wonderful minutes for us, takes wonderful notes and so on. So it was very productive. Just to touch on a couple of things that we talked about. We talked about the 3+ and the ongoing efforts that the food and beverage team is making to start to implement some of the items that are in there, and how we as the food committee can interact and help them. We touched again on the kitchen tours, which I understand have been very successful, and I encourage everybody to go on a kitchen tour if you have not signed up. We're also hoping that in a short period of time, there will be a video of the kitchen tour so that those that are unable to walk the tour can see it on the video. It's really an impressive thing to see. And of course, we talked about the success of the Copper Beach Community Room, and the fact that the menus have been put up now every day so people can see in advance where any differences are between the main menu and Central, and there it certainly has helped. In one of the big items that we talked about recently is the cancellation policy. I'm told that we have many fewer cancellations than we had in the past. So therefore, in terms of having a policy of what to do with those people that habitually canceled and didn't honor their reservations, we can put that aside. However, we still do have a cancellation policy for special events. Special events are considered Shabbat dinner, the past Purim dinner, the Seder coming up, and any other events as we go along and down the hill. But besides those special events, we also have a cancellation policy or a policy for deadlines for reservations and order forms that are asked for very clearly on every order form. It's asked that you submit your order form by a certain day. Now, for instance, on the order forms for the Seder, which is next week on April the 5th, it was asked that those order forms be returned on March the 24th. And because the few order forms that were submitted, the deadline was extended to the 27th, Monday, the 27th. As of yesterday, when we had our meeting, order forms were still coming in. And this is unfair to the kitchen staff. It's unfair to the entire food and beverage staff. They have a lot of planning to do, and they have to decide how many meals they're going to provide. And they want to also make sure that they don't have a lot of waste. They also have to know how to staff up. So the policy in place is that no reservations will be honored after the deadline. This is something that the Food and the Food Committee looked at and unanimously agreed that we all are independent living. We should be able to get in our forms on time. Now, we understand, and it's clear that there are some people, there have some issues to deal with, that they can't get their form in on time. We can't deal with everybody's individual issue, and we have to think of the community as a whole. And so it'll be at the discretion of the Food and Beverage Committee to decide who gets, who still can come in after the deadline. I did want to mention another thing, or two things. There is a new dishwasher, a dairy dishwasher, so that the next dairy night, for those that are interested, will, I think it's April 19th, but whenever that next dairy night is, there will be no plastic dishes, no plastic utensils. It'll all be china and stainless steel or whatever they are. So that's a big step forward. However, that's been a complaint coming forward. It was a legitimate complaint, but there has also been a certain amount of dissatisfaction with the offerings on dairy night. So we have a bit of time between now and April 19th. If you have any thoughts and ideas that the food and beverage team can incorporate into the offerings for dairy night, please pass them on. Likewise, last night was deli night at Nash. You would think that deli night would be very well attended. Well, there was an attendance of 16 people. Food was delicious. The pastrami, the corned beef were lean and good. And again, we would like to know why people did not come to dairy night.
Not dairy.
Deli night. What were the reasons? What can be done to enhance the experience? What can be done, maybe better offerings in food and so on, so that we can have more than 16 people show up to, some good Jewish food. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple of questions, but I just want to make a correction. I just heard from, again, our advisor, Rabbi Judy, that next Thursday is the second Seder, but it is the first day of Passover, which makes it even more important. So here, first we have Carol Martin. Marlon, go ahead.
Thank you. Let me.
You're on mute. Go ahead.
Muted. Okay, just a minute. So, okay. The reason I'm talking today, I almost am not completely ready, but I think I am. Okay. I was asked to make an announcement that, about some television stations that might be of interest to everybody in the community that is unaware. I've lived here for almost well over a year before I ever knew they existed, and I'd like to share it with you. And I thank Stephen Katz, who was the one who informed me about it. And basically, it's a station called JBS, Jewish Broadcasting Services, and it's on 1684. Now, everybody doesn't have access to that station, but on the other hand, the Comcast person who recently, because I moved, told me that it's in the bundle, because I live in a nursing home, that it's part of the bundle that Newbridge has. So if you have the bundle with Comcast, you should be able to get 1684. And then on 1685 is the Jewish JLTV. And it is it has excellent news from Israel. So you can get, it's in English, but you're getting Israeli news, and it's very balanced, and you just feel like you're getting the story in a different way.
I'm going to stop you there, Carol,
Okay.
because I thought I was taking questions
Oh, no.
to help on. And if you haven't contacted me in advance and want to make an announcement, listen to me. You please contact me in the chat and I will recognize you. Just want to make sure that the other people that have their hands up have a question about this subject.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Elaine, go ahead.
One of the reasons I want Peter to know why I can't come to deli night is I am not supposed to eat delicatessen because of the salt and the fat. And I think a lot of people here may feel the same way. I know you can get salmon or salad, but that's not what entices me down to Nosh. So I'm only talking for myself, but it may be other people who feel the same way.
Thank you.
Okay, Rona. Oh, you dropped out.
I'll tell you why I raised my hand is because why would anyone want to kill themselves by eating deli food? I mean, pastrami and corned beef. I mean, we're older and we don't need to eat that. I was going to use a four-letter word. We don't need to eat that stuff. It's not good for our health.
Okay, thank you. Sid Josephi.
I was wondering, and I don't know if Josh is speaking later, whether I should be addressing this to him, but if we're not going to one of the Seders, but we want the food on the menu, do we order it by 2 o'clock like a normal?
Joe was going to speak on that
Okay.
shortly. Let's leave that. Okay, thank you. Okay, so
Carol Hausman has her hand.
Carol Hausman, go ahead.
I think that the pastrami sandwiches have been inferior and they don't have enough meat in them, despite what Rona said. And I love hot pastrami and I really don't go to deli night because of the quality of the food. My second comment is that the lunch in Centro menu is very boring. It's been the same for ages. And I think adding a thing here or there doesn't do it. I think that the whole menu for the Centro lunch should be revised.
Okay, thank you, Betty Shapiro.
Yeah, I just have a positive comment about deli night last night. We weren't there in person, but we ordered it and enjoyed it in our own home because we had something else to do during the dinner hour. And once in a while, it's a wonderful treat. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dorrit Senior, you're on. Dorrit? No, wait a minute. All right, you're unmuted. Go ahead, Dorrit.
This announcement is really made for any people who may be interested in gardening this year. We have a great space and I don't know how many new people know about it, but if anybody wishes to garden, they can contact Sue Nimmons or me, and for $10 a season, you will have a plot and hopefully with very good soil and lots of mulch and lots of manure, and it's just very pleasant to be down there and all of us get together and grow our plants and vegetables. So I'm just appealing to anybody who wants to garden to call up Sue Nimmons or me, Dorrit Senior. That's it.
Thanks. And now Mike Ross.
Thank you, Jerry. We began our semi-annual appreciation fund drive this week. As you know, Newbridge prohibits tipping, And the Appreciation Fund is our way of expressing thanks. As you know, the Appreciation Fund is a resident-sponsored, resident-run fund that gives us the opportunity to thank those who serve us in the dining hall, those who prepare the food, the housekeeping staff, security, maintenance, and the numerous others who we don't see who are so important to our quality of life. Benita and I have been in the Newbridge community for over 6.5 years. However, there are still many departments and staff that we don't know. For those who have moved in more recently, particularly with the limitations due to COVID, much of this may not be obvious. Bob Mesnick prepared a wonderful video that gives a 3-minute overview of why the Appreciation Fund is so important to our community. The Appreciation Fund Committee would like to share this with you. Faye?
Okay.
Yep. I know a play.
No video. Oh, there we go.
And is never played.
Newbridge is an excellent place to live with luxurious environment, great social life, and amenities like a fabulous resort. Newbridge is a complex organization that includes food services, security, emergency response, transportation, financial services, community life with its concierge services, health, fitness, engineering, maintenance, housekeeping, and administration. Management sets the tone of the organization.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Hollingshead, Executive Director here at Newbridge on the Charles. A lot of people don't recognize this, but we have many, many, many employees here that work behind the scenes each and every single day to make this the tremendous community that it is.
And a lot of these people are people who get an appreciation check.
That is correct.
Okay.
Anybody earning under a certain amount receives the appreciation check. They put their heart and their soul into the work that happens here. And candidly, it's the reason I love working here. The wonderful, diverse population of individuals that are dedicated to just doing an amazing job in helping our residents.
The appreciation check means great to us. To some other people mean the world. Why? Because some of them don't have the means to pay for all they need to pay. Per se, a lot of them don't have any money to buy the meal for Christmas Day. They don't have the meal for New Year's Eve, or they don't have a meal for the day or for the night, whatever it is. There are a lot of people that are less fortunate than others in here.
Thank you for the appreciation check.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I wonder that we got this far. It's not. What is Newbridge? For the people who live here, it's a wonderful, fantastic environment. But most of all, Newbridge is the dedicated people who work here and that make this a great place to live.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any follow-up, Mike?
Yes, just a couple last words. First of all, a thank you to Bob Mesnick for preparing that, and thank you, Faye, for showing that. Inflation and the economic ramifications of the pandemic have affected all of us, but it has hit particularly hard on the staff. The twice-a-year gift from the residents is very meaningful and has provided an average gift based upon the number of hours worked of about $500 in lieu of tips to each eligible employee. We have kept our recommended minimum donation at $400 per person and $800 per couple. In our fall campaign, over 90% of residents contributed, with approximately 1/4 of our residents donating more than the suggested minimum. I and the rest of the committee hope that you too will think about how much our staff adds to Newbridge, how hard they work to make this our home, and consider giving something extra if you can. I thank all of you in advance for your donations to the Appreciation Fund.
Okay, thank you. And now Tara Fleming Caruso.
Thank you, Jerry. I wanted to remind you all of 2 educational opportunities next week. Next Tuesday, April 4th, from 4 to 5, the Assisted Living Executive Director, Rhonda Gleiman, and a few of her key staff members will be having a very casual wine and conversation event in the assisted living community. So for those of you who are on the wait list, and there is a wait list, and those of you who are thinking maybe assisted living could make your life easier in the future, this is a great opportunity. You have to RSVP through the hotline at 49218. The other opportunity next week is an internal campus tour from 10 to 11 on Thursday the 6th. Put on your sneakers because we're going to walk for an hour, and we're going to go from the pool to the salon to long-term care to assisted living. You're just going to see everything. And so far, a lot of new folks have signed up, so it'll be a great opportunity for you. Meet at the bottom of the Nosh stairs. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. Larissa Levitch. I'm on, we both did it. Go
Okay,
on.
sorry about that. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to remind you that this Saturday, the Hospitality Committee and the Community Life join force to offer a fun and engaging way to get to know your neighbors better. Our program on the Fool's Day is Guess Who, and we got more than 50 pictures of Newbridge residents. And the committee spent a little bit of time yesterday trying to actually understand who is who. And it was so much fun, right, Sharon? So we look forward to see all of you this Saturday at 2 o'clock and have really fun time together.
Thank you. And Joel Jones.
Well, hello, everybody, and a early Huxamea to you all. I'm just going to remind everyone that on Monday, Nosh will be closed because we're going to be koshering. The whole entire Nosh team has been doing deep cleaning all this week. And then on Sunday, we're going to do a final push. So Monday, we will be closed for kosher. So just to make you aware. Also, too, we will be kosher for Passover for that entire week. So that means that some of those selections you're used to, those deli selections, I'm talking to you, Carol Houseman, the good stuff. A lot of that will be changed and altered. So we'll be offering only kosher for Passover products. If anyone has any questions on that or needs to see any pictures or anything, please just reach out to me. And then also, too, I want to alleviate some worries. There will be a new Centro lunch menu rollout in April. I do believe it's slated for the 17th. So be ready. More is coming. And I really wish and hope everyone has a joyous and happy Pesach.
Did you answer the question? I can't remember what it was that I interrupted.
It was Sid.
Yeah, Sid.
Joel, for if we're not going to one of the Seders, but we want the food from the Seder with, the entree only stuff, do we just order that by 2 o'clock on that day, or is it too late?
It's a little too late because this is a pre-order and that allows us to buy just the right amount of food. And it's hard for us to predict who would need that, and also the operation as well to do it to go during Pesach would really stretch the team. We do have offerings though in Centro, and a lot of that is Passover style. We also have the bulk order as well, and that is due, I do believe, this Friday. So you have an opportunity there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. So we have Rona Goodman and then Helene Oppenheimer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to ask Larissa about the station 918. I've been very patient, but it's been like 2 weeks and I don't know. I'd like to know what's happening with it.
Okay, Larissa.
Sure, sure. So this is, I appreciate the patience, and this is where I am at this time. It's gonna be, how do I want to say it? It will take longer. What's happening with the channel is not an easy fix, and it's caused by the fact that the our internet browser provider, Microsoft Internet, is dead. To make it very simple, is dead. So Shanahan is looking into the new browser for us that is competitive with all our equipment. So we've met with them last week. Their engineers are working, and just to explain, we are not the only one that became the, that kind of experience in that. There are many organizations, not just organizations like ours, but I was told a lot of colleges and universities that have their internet connection through that browser that are now looking for the alternatives. And I will keep you posted. I do appreciate the patience. I do want to say that it'll take a little longer. It will take some time to come with a solution that is not going to be a patch, but will be a solution that will guarantee that for a good period of time, we will be able to maintain the quality of the channel. I understand that it does not sound very, I don't want to say positive, but I want to put it right there that it will take time. So this time, it's not an easy fix. It will take time. Just bear with us. Yes.
When you say time, what amount of time are we talking about?
So let's have a deal, Rona. Next Tuesday, the team Newbridge and the Shanahan are having a meeting where they will explain their proposal, and we will be able to ask all the questions that we got. And after that, I will be able to provide information that is more timely and more concrete. I don't want to speculate at this time, and I hope you understand.
I do now. Thank you.
Sure.
Elaine Oppenheimer.
My question's for Joel. We were going to get confirmations for our reservations for the Seder. Do you know if that's still going to happen or when?
That's a great question, Helene, and thank you for asking. So since we extended the deadline, that kind of pushed a lot of our confirmation calls back. So we should be starting those confirmation calls over the weekend. It just kind of set us back a little bit. So our apologies.
Okay, thanks a lot, Joel.
Of course.
Nancy Cooper, are you raising your hand or making an adjustment on your equipment? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't find a little, is it correct to understand that Larissa, that the films will still continue to be shown on 9/18?
So Nancy, good news. We are able to offer the evening movies. It's happening. That said, Nancy, I don't know if Carol Marlin wants to share the experience, because a group of residents actually came to the movie, and Carol shared with me that group of the residents, it was 11 residents that came to the movie theater one of the nights, and then they stayed and discussed a movie. So one thing to consider, but yes, Nancy, to your question, we will continue evening movies. We have an ability. This is the only thing that we can do at this time.
Yes, I did watch a film the other night, and it was perfect. No
Good.
problem.
I'm glad this is working. Thank you.
Elaine Cannisburg.
Hi, this question is for Larissa also. Several people have asked if the presentation, Alan's presentation on Monday, was recorded. Can you
Yes,
tell me
it
that?
was. It was.
So it was. Is it available on YouTube now?
Not yet, but it will. It takes a little bit of time to upload it, and it will be available next week. And Helene, thank you so much. One thing that is, I'd like to take an opportunity and share that the programs like Residents Present or Jerry Weiner Zoom, we have an ability to record Zoom or live program of this caliber, and we will make it available through our channel 918. I do hope that you that you remember that we have this wonderful Newbridge YouTube channel, and there are a lot of things that you could check in there. And yes, next week we will have Ellen's presentation available.
Great, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Go ahead, Rona.
What about Sharon Bouvier's talk on Tuesday? I couldn't be here. Is that
Yeah.
recorded as well?
No, it was not recorded.
She should teach a class.
Okay, I don't mind. Sharon, my next semester starts in August, so we'll talk.
Okay, Matt, I think we're all set for you now. Go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. 107 computers logged in right now. That's pretty incredible.
And about 10 of them have 2 people in it. So
Yeah. It's I can't believe we're this popular, Jerry. It's great. I want to give a shout out to Larissa. So a little backstory and perspective. COVID obviously came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden we had this necessity to do programming throughout the community and to not do so in person. And so we put this tremendous pressure on Larissa to provide programming via your TV sets. And within a matter of weeks, she had figured out how to piggyback onto, at that time, the 12-year-old system that we had and make it happen. And that really was a miracle in itself that that was able to be done. It was really piecemealed together. The system was never, ever designed to even do that. So kudos to you, Larissa. You created something in this community which was beyond our expectations, and we were just thrilled that you were able to do it. So now we're battling obsolete equipment, which we're trying to replace, but we don't just want to replace it. We want to replace it with something that's going to go another 14 years and be exceptional. We're battling with Microsoft, which you all know you don't win that battle. So we're trying to figure out what kind of interface works with the equipment that we have. The good news is Larissa's been able to salvage the the live broadcasts and the movies, which is great. I mean, that's the core of what we do. But in the future, we're gonna figure this thing out, but it's just gonna take some time. But just for perspective, Larissa, that was amazing that you were even able to get us there, and you created this thing that everybody wants, which is really neat. So well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Matt.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it was incredible. So I'll start off with the usual and talk about COVID. We had a little jump in cases here in the community. We have 5 cases in independent living. Of those 5, 2 were from last week, carryovers from last week. 3 were from over the weekend. We did have an event where there was some exposures. I think there was about 9 or 10 exposures. And the good news is during that exposure scenario, nobody has yet to contract COVID-19, which is terrific. Everybody was unmasked. It was a fitness space. The airflow was great. So we seem to be in good shape in that regard. But still, 5 cases is a little more than the 2 or 3 we're used to seeing, particularly in the state of Massachusetts, when I'll show you in a second. Those numbers are just dropping off a cliff. There is not a lot of COVID going on in the county by any means. And I'm going to show that to you right now. All right, here we are. Okay, so again, they changed the statistical reporting. There's 24 cases per 100,000 people. This used to be presented as a percentage. So don't be confused if this number is a lot higher than what you're used to seeing on a weekly basis. I think they were able to get a lot more granular, and so they're presenting the actual number of cases. So again, right here, 24 cases per 100,000. Over the last 2 weeks, it's down 16%, which is excellent. 4% of all of those tested for COVID-19 are coming up positive, and there are 31 hospitalizations per day. That's still a lot of hospital visits per day. So that number's still there. And then if you come here, you can see that that hospitalization has declined by 27%. Now I'm going to scroll up, and this is the map that really speaks to me. And I showed you all this last week. Okay. Over here, you can see it's color coded. So if there's low risk, it has this gray color, which you can see the entire Commonwealth is gray. If it's medium, it's kind of this mustardy color. And then if it's high, it's that orange color. So you can see the whole Commonwealth is at low risk right now. But here at Newbridge, we're seeing a little bit of an uptick. Hopefully by next week, we'll be through this. Everybody is doing all right. We're keeping tabs and making sure everybody's okay. As a reminder, security will test you. All you got to do is make a phone call and they'll be there. All right, before I move on, I see a hand raised.
Yeah, Rona, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused about this because to me, the way we're handling it at Newbridge is a little bit inconsistent with what I would expect. Because if you are exposed to it here by somebody that you don't even know, you can go out into the programs and do the programs, but you can't eat here. And people are sitting next to other people that have their masks on, and they don't know that those people were exposed and who the people were they exposed to for COVID. And I think that's sort of strange because either you're going to know who it is so that we can know who it is, or they should one way or the other, not this way. It's very frustrating to know that this is the way it's being handled now.
Thank you, Rona. I appreciate that. And I understand the frustration. I think the hard part is with HIPAA laws, the minute we share with you who has it, we've then violated HIPAA. And that puts us, it does, and that puts us in a box. What we can do here is we can control the virus through source control. And what that means is wearing a mask. And so when you've been exposed, and believe you me, we all get exposed all the time, whether it's here at Newbridge or outside, there's a lot of exposure happening overall. You put that mask on, and that mask keeps you from putting out enough particulate to get other individuals sick. That is the concept behind it. The reason why you're not supposed to be at dinner is because then you are in close contact without a mask. The CDC calls an exposure unmasked within 6 feet for 15 minutes or longer. If you are masked, it is not actually considered an exposure. So what we're doing is we're actually following the CDC guideline to try to prevent cases. Now, we could be like every other community and do absolutely nothing, which is what's happening everywhere else at this point. But we're still trying to take steps to make sure that we're at least attempting to mitigate any risk that exists. So what I'm doing is I'm making the best decisions I can with the confines and restrictions that are placed around us. So it's not ideal, I know, but it's the best we can do.
Because the person is sitting right next to the person who you say was exposed to it.
As long as they're masked. Again, it's not considered an exposure.
It's weird.
I hear you.
We'll move on. Maya Fine.
So I just wanted to point out that I know what the current regulations are at Newbridge, and I adapted my behavior to follow them. So if I walk around, I'm going from place A to place B, I don't wear a mask now. But if I'm going to Great Meadow Hall for a program where I know there's going to be a lot of people and I'm going to be sitting next to them, I wear a mask. It's not because I've been exposed, it's because I've personally decided to wear a mask. So not everybody you see wearing a mask is exposed.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think it goes back to what we've been talking about, which is personal responsibility for our health and what our risk profile is and making decisions and how we keep ourselves healthy.
Thanks. Marcia Venicelli. I'll unmute. Go ahead, Marcia.
Hi, there is one way of getting around the HIPAA issue, which has been being done at a place where friends of ours live, another community. And that is that people put on their community listserv when they have COVID. There's no HIPAA issue around that at all because it's voluntary.
That's correct.
Similar to what I did, I called everybody I could think of. And I think I also put it on the listserv. We could voluntarily do that.
And Marcia, I want to thank you. That was incredible. from where I sit, I appreciate that so much. I mean, it made my job so much easier, and I think it meant a lot to the community members. So thank you. It's a great suggestion.
Okay, Barbara or Jerry Nadish?
Well, it's gonna be me. Matt, could you clarify whether security is supposed to do the contact tracing if you have tested positive?
They will do the contact. The information that comes out is only good as the individual giving, the information. Not everybody is a terrific historian, and so that's where we run into a bit of a problem. So they'll do the best they can.
But is it the resident's job or security's job?
Security will help. You can reach out to security and ask for help. There's been two ways this has been approached. Some
Okay.
residents have said, I don't want security doing this, I will do it myself.
Okay,
And they have done so. And other folks have said, we'd like to have security do this for us.
okay,
So
so
it's
there's
personal preference.
no set policy.
No set policy, personal preference. But
Okay.
please do let security know if you test positive, because that will be one of the questions they're going to be asking you. Of
Okay, thank you.
course.
Maya Fine, you have another question.
Yes, I do. You just mentioned the listserv. I am completely unfamiliar with the term, the listserv regarding Newbridge. So
Google Groups.
somebody explain that. I mean, do we have one for residents? I mean, I know
There
what
we-
listserv is.
We have Google Groups is what we have.
Yeah.
I believe that's what Marcia was talking about.
Oh, so what she meant was she posted it on the residents' Newbridge list. Thank you.
Yes.
That was confusing to me.
Okay, let's move on.
All right. COVID, the never ending topic. Just doesn't seem to go away, but that's okay. We'll deal. Next week, maintenance, beginning on Monday, the engineering staff will be servicing the heat pumps. And to do this efficiently, they're going to go building by building. All right. You do not need to be in your residence. They'll go in there and they'll take care of it. And I'll give you the schedule, and it's also going to be in my letter. On Monday, this is next Monday, they're going to do the 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000 buildings. All right. And then on Tuesday, this is April 4th, they're going to do the 3,000 buildings, floors 1 through 3. And then Wednesday, and we'll stop early in the afternoon so we don't interfere with any of the holiday. They're going to do the 4,000 building, floors 1 through 4. I've been told they'll be done by 3 p.m. So you'll see the maintenance teams coming around, and they'll go in. You don't need to be home. They're going to service the heat pumps. Just wanted you all to be aware of that, and it'll be in the letter as well. Jerry, I see one hand raised.
Oh, sorry, Marcia, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just a little bit of impressed, I'd say, with your number 5, Matt, because I don't remember in the last several months our ever having 5. And I'm wondering if this is reflective of the fact that we've changed our policies dramatically.
Yeah, I thought that myself. It has nothing to do with necessarily travel in this case. I think we're running against a string of bad luck here. I know, but there's nothing data-wise to suggest that it has anything to do with the policy changes at this point. Because if you recall, the changes in policies happen to be the travel. And so none of these cases came from travel. That was one. The other one is elevators. And technically the exposure piece, you're not in an elevator for 15 minutes with somebody. And so those are the two major changes that have happened from a policy standpoint.
Yes.
The other thing is I changed them on Thursday and these cases came up on Sunday.
What about guests?
Well, guests are still masked in common spaces.
Aren't
That's
they
been
invited to, I thought they were invited to the dining rooms now.
well, they are, and they have been for quite a while. They've been coming to lunch for quite a while. So the guest thing is not new. That piece of it has not changed. There's nothing definitive at this point that points to it and says, A equals B here. It's not the case just yet, but that was my first thought as well, Marcia. So I dug into it pretty deeply because I wanted to make sure that was not the case.
Thanks.
And if it was, it would allow me to make adjustments.
So Zalman or Sandy August?
I wanted to say two things. One, my wife and I, Sandy and I, are two of the five, I believe. And he
Yay.
was contracted at an outside concert on a Sunday afternoon, another show where there was a concert. And that then I think contributed to the other three of the five with whom we had contact. That's number one. Number two, I would like, Matt, for you to clarify to people what is considered the end of the need for separation. That there are some people who remain positive for weeks after the disease, and my understanding is they are not able to contract for people to contract the disease from them, even though they are positive. I wish you would speak to that. Thank you.
There's a little trouble hearing you, but I will try to answer your question as best as I heard it. So the way it works is on day 5, you can start testing. And if you test negative, you can come out of isolation. If you do not test negative, on day 11, you can come out of isolation into the community. At that point, the thought behind it is you do not have enough of a viral load to be contagious to anyone anymore. So that's, again, CDC recommendations, which is what we are following. It's also in the information that I sent out last week, and that came out in a constant contact. It was in my weekly letter, and it was, I also spoke about it on the Zoom chat. But just a little reminder for everybody. Thank you, Zal.
Thank you.
Okay, Helene Oppenheimer.
Matt,
Larry?
there have
Sounds like it was community spread. The 3 cases came from Zalman. That's what he said.
I'm sorry, Helene, I couldn't hear you.
I know Marcia was talking. There were visitors, a whole family with a child who were in the living room unmasked. And I know there are visitors coming in unmasked. And
They should be masked right now.
But how do you stop visitors from coming in unmasked?
It's the same challenge we've had for a long time. You know, if anybody sees it, please let us know. We'll be happy to have a conversation with them. Oftentimes I see somebody and I just go like this, you know, put your mask on. They usually get the hint right away.
No,
It's
but
amazing how many people don't anticipate the needs when you walk into, you know, a senior living residence.
Well, this is on the weekend, I think Sunday, when nobody was at the front desk.
I see.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Rona. Go ahead.
Now, just like Sandy and Zal were talking about that they had the virus, so that people that would know them would know that they were exposed to it. If we don't know, we can't know that. And I don't see what's wrong with somebody coming out at these meetings and saying that they have the virus. I mean, what's so terrible about that? They're going to quarantine and come out when they can, when, you know, after they're tested. And then we can know who we're exposed to ourselves. We're not little kindergarten kids.
Thank you, Rona. I mean, if the community wants to do that, that's your call. From an administration standpoint, I can't do that because it is a HIPAA violation for me to do it.
You can, anybody wants to do that, just send me a note in advance and they'll have time to just say it.
It's 7 weeks, it's 7 days though.
Yeah. Well, I can't help that part.
Yeah, and there's another thing. I also read in the newspaper that there is another vaccine that they're giving older people now that to keep the virus away, because it isn't the same as time goes on, the immunity to the disease. So I read about that and I was curious as to if we're even talking to somebody about it.
I haven't heard any updates about that yet, Rona. We will hear right away from infection control plus Dedham Pharmacy when that comes to be. As soon as the vaccination schedule gets updated, we'll know about it and we'll have another clinic right here on site.
Okay, Charlie Small, you're the last to speak on this subject. Go ahead.
Okay, I actually want to change the subject somewhat since we're talking about health issues. The other night, there was a resident who fell in Central. Immediately, security was called, and they came quickly. And many residents immediately surrounded the person and went to lift that person up. It turned out that person was fine. But I have always been advised by many people, including my son, who's an ER doc, that I and others should not be all of a sudden lifting a person unless we know what we're doing and unless it's really an emergency. So I want that clarified because people were attempting to lift a person, rightly or wrongly, but I think we should always be careful about that. So I'd like some comments.
Thanks, Charlie. You are 100% correct. If somebody falls, please leave them there. You can make sure they're comfortable. You could hold their hand, maybe ask, I don't know, wait for security to arrive. They are trained to assess the situation, identify if it's safe to lift the person up.
So,
thank you.
I have a note here that says, I'm not sure if the number 5 for COVID's accurate. I'm negative and so is Zal. David, the number 5 is accurate. You and Zal are not on the list.
Okay, so we've done that subject. Unless you have a different subject, Barbara or Sid, I don't want to take it.
It is a different subject. It's to follow up on Charlie Small's observation that happened in the dining room. It's my understanding that that person tripped over a walker. Now, in the dining room, it is again becoming a problem with all of the walkers that are in right next to the person's chair. And I think someone has to make it, from management, has to make sure that the walkers are out where they're supposed to be as opposed to the right next to the person eating.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Sid.
Just to clarify, Monday night, this Monday, we can take guests to the dining room for dinner, right? That's open for dinner now.
Joel, correct?
Okay, let's move on, Matt.
Okay.
Did Joel answer?
Yes, that is correct. So during Pesach, you are allowed guests at night.
Okay.
Not just Pesach, I mean this Monday, this coming Monday.
In Central, so I have to be a stickler here. I'm afraid because it's really not Passover this coming Monday in Central, I'm going to have to be that kind of guy. I'm sorry. If you needed to go or something like that, we're more than happy to help you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, Matt.
All right. In case I don't see many of you, I want to wish you all a wonderful Passover next week. I hope it's tremendous and meaningful. On Monday and Tuesday, I will be out of the office. I'll be at a board retreat in Western Mass. But if you need me, I'll be monitoring email and checking voicemail here and there. So if you need me, please don't hesitate. I also wanted to just iterate again, Tara mentioned an opportunity to connect with Rhonda Gleiman, the Executive Director of Assisted Living. This is a wonderful opportunity for anybody to sit down, not just learn about AL, but really talk with her about, what does the future hold? What do your options look like? You all belong to this tremendous community that has a ton of viable options to support you as aging happens. Learn about it. It doesn't mean you have to move, but knowledge is power, and take the opportunity to learn. It is a wonderful opportunity. And I got to tell you this, coming from assisted living, I am biased, yes, indeed, but you never want to make a health decision in a crisis. So plan, learn, figure out what your plans might be. This is a wonderful opportunity. And I believe the Director of Nursing, Elise Wilcox, will be there as well.
Okay, so Rabbi Judy, I think it's Passover. Did you have anything to say before we close? Wait a minute. Go.
Sharon has something
I
to say.
hadn't planned to make any announcements, but I would like to say happy Passover to everyone who celebrates this holiday, and also happy Easter for those who will be celebrating Easter.
Okay.
Jerry, before we close,
Yeah.
I do have one more.
Oh,
I just,
okay.
I'd like to introduce Mary Jane Milner, who's done a tremendous amount of work on our green initiatives on this campus. And to no one's surprise, she has yet again moved us forward. Mary Jane, the stage is all yours. You can talk about our wonderful textile recycling program that you have brought to us here at Newbridge.
For that, Jerry, can you give me sharing privileges?
And can you turn off your second device?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Mary Jane.
Thank you. And I would like to thank Lynette Charles, who has helped me to make it possible for me to speak to you. Do we have the slides up? Still trying to get access.
Wait a minute, I have to fix you for that. Go ahead. Now you can go. Go ahead.
It's not working.
Who's doing the slides? You're not doing it?
Lynette.
Lynette.
Where is Lynette? I don't.
Lynette's right here. We're in the Superior Boardroom.
Okay.
I have my laptop in here.
Yeah, so I have to enable your laptop, but I don't see your, I saw you a minute ago. Just raise your hand, will you? Put the hand raise in. Okay.
There's Lynette. Good.
Okay, so, I don't seem to, okay, go ahead. You're all set.
I think we're still waiting on our slides. Here we go. Good, let's go to the next. When the Massachusetts law banned textiles from trash pickup this past January, the Environmental Sustainability Committee needed to find out what residents of Newbridge would do with their scraps of fabric, torn pajamas, shredded blue jeans, stained curtains, worn out towels. I found a Newbridge answer at a visit to the Needham Transfer Station arranged by Steve Popper and Dorrit Sr. On our tour of the facility, we saw what Needham does with its textiles. Thanks to a large Red Cross container, textiles and many other items are shipped off to a Red Cross collection center where they are reused, recycled, repurposed in dozens of ways. This is what we needed at Newbridge. We came home and told Matt and Fernando of our find. They gave a thumbs up to working with the Red Cross to bring a container here to Newbridge. The Red Cross said yes. Red Cross to the rescue. Next slide. Next. Yeah, I'm trying to put it right. Okay, here we go. Here's the official Red Cross bin and a listing of what is acceptable, far beyond the textiles we had asked about. So in addition to textiles, you'll see clothing, footwear, accessories, and the Red Cross makes use of all its donations. Fabric scraps are used to patch, torn towels are turned into useful rags. Clothing in good condition is passed on to families in need. When contributions are made, the clothing or whatever it is needs to be bagged. But you can see this is a wonderfully sturdy piece of equipment to receive our donations. Next. Once the bin was in place, Lloyd Tarlin was asked to head up this Newbridge Red Cross operation. Thank you, Lloyd. Our staff and residents may place any of the listed items in a bag for deposit in the bin. From time to time, the Red Cross will empty out the bin, taking back all items to their headquarters. Next. The location in the large parking lot away from people and traffic is perfect for the Red Cross pickup with their large truck. For those of us with cars or who have neighbors they can task with the job of transporting items to the Red Cross bin, it is a very easy spot to get to and super safe. Next. If you don't have a car, residents can deposit textiles or indeed any items listed as acceptable by the Red Cross in our large plastic bin that is now placed in the area behind the concierge desk, next to the twin bin for collecting soft plastics. Lloyd will check out the Red Cross bin regularly, transporting bagged items to the large parent container in the Newbridge upper level parking lot. Textile problem solved, a great solution of moving so many items that will find their way to the Red Cross bin from whence they are transformed from trash to treasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary Jane. And we have one more question that I missed. Go ahead, Sharon Gouveia.
I'm just confused after Sid asked about visitors in the dining rooms during Passover. Does that mean that anytime during the 8 days of Passover that a visitor could be in either Centro? I mean, I know they're allowed in Nosh, or is it just for the 2 nights of the Seder dinner? Is Joel still here to
Yes,
answer?
I'm still here. So we want to see families and we want to be safe and we want to celebrate this holiday. So we are going to go all the way through. So even though we're not going to honor it on Monday, during the days of Passover, we are. And that goes for both outlets.
Okay, that would clearly restrict the number of residents that are allowed, that will have the opportunity to go.
And I'm sorry, I had to walk away, so I might not have heard your first part of your question.
Okay.
I was assuming that you were asking if you could have guests during Pesach, the week of Pesach, not just the Seders, in both outlets.
No, that's what I was asking. I didn't know if guests would be allowed in Centro, because then the residents, there would be less seating for the residents in Centro.
You're right, but also at the same time, we have a beautiful community room, just crying out for attention. Also, there is the Nosh, which will have plenty of room for anyone to overflow. I know everyone loves Centro, but during this time too, we're going to have kosher-like products in Centro, so might as well just come down to Nosh and enjoy the real thing.
Thank you.
Okay, I said that was the last word, and I want to follow through with that. Remember, there's no meeting scheduled for next week. We'll see you the week after. Have a very happy Pesach.
Everyone, thank you.
All right, thanks.